Dr. Latson-Billin said it best when she says that culturally relevant teachers are teachers who see themselves as members of the communities that they teach in. They see teaching as a way to give back to those communities, and they encourage their students to do the same. But how can we see ourselves as members of a community we know nothing about? Well, with my Community Pieces activity, I want to show you how to get to know your students, their families, and the communities that you teach in, and create an environment where all students feel valued, seen, respected, and heard. So let's check it out. In the Community Pieces activity, I want to start you off by looking at the face-to-face version, the version that you would use in a brick and mortar setting with your students. So the way I use this activity, once again, it's all about getting to know my students, building my cultural competence when it comes to my students, and building those relationships with students by knowing what's important to them, what they value, and what they love about the community that they live in. And I'm talking about their physical communities, but you can also learn about the wider communities from this activity. So what I do with this activity is I print these color puzzle pieces out, and I cut the puzzle pieces up, and I have students fill in. The most important person in their community is. Who would that most important person be? Could it be Big Mama down the street, Mimi and Pawpaw? The next thing is, what is the most important place in their community? Could that be a church? Could it be a recreation center, a restaurant where people like to gather at, a corner store? I love a good corner store. In my community, we are united by what brings people in the community together. It could be local festivals. It could be parades that they like to have, a holiday. I remember when I was in college, I lived in Ruston, Louisiana, and they loved the Peach Festival. And the festival brought everybody in the community together. And then people in my community come together when we what? What are we doing? Is it the Friday night football? Yeah, I know Texas folks love their football. So what is it about your community that you love? Let your students tell them through this activity. The reason why this activity is important to me, because as educators who generally teach outside of the community that our students live in, it's quick to make assumptions. But through this activity, instead of us assuming what we want about our students' communities, we're giving them the opportunity to share with us what they love and they enjoy and they respect and value about the community. And we can take this information and bring that into our instruction. And so when students have completed their puzzle pieces, they fill them in. What I like to do is I like to then go and connect the puzzle pieces and build a big classroom puzzle that shows how our community in our classroom comes together based off of the communities outside of our classroom. But since many of us are teaching in a virtual setting, we can't do the traditional puzzle pieces activity. So I'm going to show you guys using my Google Maps how to do the community pieces using MyMaps. So let's jump in. If you go to Google mymaps.google.com, what you will see is a blank map template that you can use, kind of like the Google Maps feature, to build your community map. You can also get to this through your Drive. So if you go to Google Drive and you hit the plus sign, once you hit that plus sign, it will drop down and you can go to more, and then you want to go Google My Maps. So we're going to go to Google My Maps, okay? Once we are in Google My Maps, then we can start building our maps. So what you want to do is you want to hit the plus sign that is here down in our lower right hand corner, and we are going to add our first map. Okay, so first thing is important is how you want your base map to look. I want to, so you can have the traditional map feature, you can have the satellite feature, you can have the terrain. I like the way the satellite feature looks when I start to add on to it. So first I'm going to give my map a title, and I'm going to title it Community Map. And then this is a map to show you so this is a map to show you what I love about my community. Okay, so now we want to start adding our layers. Okay, and so a layer is just how things are going to overlap with each other. So I'm just going to do one layer for now, and I am going to rename this layer my childhood. All right, so let's get to building. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to use the community map puzzle pieces to build my map. So the most important person in my community was my Uncle Benny. Was a really, really prominent person in my community growing up. Even though he was very important to our family, he was very important to various people throughout our community. So when I think of the most important person in my community growing up, I think about my Uncle Benny. So I am going to Google his address, and then his address pops up, and I'm going to add that to my map, right? And so with adding that to my map, I'm going to edit it. So I want to hit the edit button, and I want to say, I'm going to title it. And then I'm going to title it My Uncle Benny's House, and then I want to write a description about why this place is important to my community. So the most all right, and I'm just going to give you guys that, and then I'm going to hit save, right? So now I want to add another place onto my map. So let's see. In my community, we were united by, we loved going to our Friday night football games. When I did Pop Warner, we did our Saturday football games all day, and usually the football games happened at Washington High School. So I am going to Google Washington Preparatory High School. So I'm Googling, and it's right around the corner from my Uncle Benny's house, actually right down the street. So I'm going to add that to a map, and I'm going to, once again, I'm going to hit the edit button, and I'm going to change that to what a place that unites my community. And then we love football, and I'm going to put that. And that is added to my map. So I'm going to do one more with you, but I kind of think you got the point. Let's see. The most important place in my community is Jesse Owens Park. Growing up, I loved going to Jesse Owens Park. So I'm going to find Jesse Owens Park, and I am going to add Jesse Owens Park to my community. And then once again, I'm going to hit the edit button. I'm going to tell you guys what I love about Jesse Owens Park. Now, here's another thing that I love about this. This using my map or my Google Maps for this activity is I like playing around with the icons. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the icons and the style. So if you hit the paint bucket, that will allow you to change the style and change the color of the pin maps and put an icon in place of the pin maps. So I'm going to change my Uncle Benny to blue, and I'm going to add a house feature there. So that when I add that house feature on my map, you will see the house there for my Uncle Benny. See that house? I'm going to put, let me see, the generals were red. So I'm going to use this color for red. And then I'm going to drop down because I want to find more icons. Let me see if I can find a school. Let's see. Or no, because you know what? We did it for sports. So I'll do football. And there is a football, and I'm going to place football there. So now I want to do the Jesse Owens icon. So when I think of Jesse Owens Park, I usually think of families gathering together. So I am going to see if I can find a heart shape for this icon. So let's see. Where is the heart? There is the heart, and I want to change that icon to I'm going to do, I already have that color. I'll do that color, and then I'm going to save. So now when you look at my community map, you will see all of the different places that are important and special to me. So with the community map activity, what I usually do in my classroom and with my students when we're doing it virtually using my Google Maps is I have them find 10 places that describes them, 10 places in their community that they could use to teach others about them. Like I said, that can be local convenience stores, that can be favorite food restaurants, that can be the favorite place that they get their clothes from, that can be their mama's house, their daddy's house, uh anything in their community that can help me get to know them and understand why and what in their community is important to them and how I can use that in my classroom. And then when they're ready to share it with me, all you have to do is hit the share feature, and they can take that link, drop that link into the Google Classroom and turn it in as an assignment. And here is my community map. So I hope that you enjoy this community pieces activity and find a way to use the My Community Map in your classroom. And I'm out.